Greetings again, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube. I am again Joe Atticus Ancient, and welcome to the second episode of In One Day of Poets Love, celebrating 30 poets in 30 days during National Poetry Month. Now, the reason for the air quotes is because when I started thinking about this project, I didn't want to leave it all to slam poetry. So I made sure to include in the magic shoebox here that not all the poets are slam poets. So in this box, along with the slam poets, are classical poets and musicians. I know the debate. Can musicians be considered poets? And my 2 cents on the argument is, if you have a musician who puts a lot of focus on the lyrics, who makes sure that the emotion connects with the story, that the story is well crafted, that it fits with the music, and so on and so forth, then yes, it can be considered poetry. And this is a segue into the second poet of the day. And it's someone who causes a lot of controversy, yet at the same time, I absolutely love. So ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Tom Waits. If you don't know who Tom Waits is, you might have heard one of his songs. You probably hear sorry. Throat's not typically in the mode for my usual Tom Waits impressions. Anyways, Tom Waits was born in Sonoma, California. He was originally on the Asylum label, where he released most of his work. He's released such classic albums as Rain Dog, Swordfish Trombone, Small Change, and 2011's Bad As Me, which I believe you should check out. Now, my relationship with Tom Waits. Back in high school, I was hanging out with a group of people who loved Tom Waits. I've heard the name, I've seen the CDs on the library stack, but yet at the same time was still in that mode where it's like, haven't really heard anything of theirs personally. But after talking to these people, I decided to pick up an album of Tom Waits at the library, and that album actually happened to be his debut album, Small Change. And from the first notes of Small Change, I was hooked. It was nothing like I heard at the time. There was of course his voice, and I wanted to be a singer, but I didn't have that traditional singing voice that makes people think you're good. So hearing someone whose voice fit the music well, I loved. And it was also just like the shifts. If you're going to start with anything Tom Waits, I suggest starting with Small Change, because not only is it his debut, it also has the best examples of what makes Tom Waits good, at least in my opinion. There are just so many songs that have this humor, that have this heart, that have this humor, that have this twisted, what are you thinking? That is awesome motifs to it. Such as examples from that album that I think people will really enjoy will be, of course, Tom Thurber's Blues, which is one of his biggest hits, Pasties and a G-String, which I don't think I need to explain the subject matter of that song, but it's still freaking hysterical. Step Right Up is just a genius simple song put in such a complex way, and I love it. And also on that note, the title track, Small Change, which is why a main reason why I put Tom Waits in this box. It's not really a song, it is a spoken word poem, just with the music set as the background. Now, it might not attract everyone's, but knowing of Tom Waits' music and listening further on, you can get the influences of him, and his influence in his writing is definitely the beat poetry, which is again something you don't see done well in today's days with today's people. They say beat poetry, and most people automatically think hipster, and hipster is apparently a bad thing at some points, and it can be. I won't deny it, but the work beat poetry is good, and you will probably get to some more beat poets if their names get pulled from the shoebox. So, Tom Waits has also had a very influential career. Besides just winning Grammys, he was nominated and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is just wonderful for Tom Waits fans, because no one really saw it coming. And of course, he accepted the award. It's probably one of my favorite acceptance speeches at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just watching him with the award, asking if he could have a keychain version, so when he gets pulled over drunk driving, he can say, "I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." It's classic Tom Waits. And there are many other tracks from future albums, not just Small Change, that still continues that influence of the poetry of his work. And it's just great. It's still, every time Tom Waits releases a new album to me, it's refreshing, because it doesn't sound like anything I'm listening to now, and it pulls me back into just listening to good stuff. So now, and I know what most people think of Tom Waits. I have addressed it in poem. I have a poem called "Gargling," or Why Tom Waits Influenced People Like Me. And I wouldn't be able to write that poem if it wasn't for Tom Waits' music, because it's a poem, another ego-stroking moment of mine. It's a poem that I really like, because it's really different from anything else that I've ever written. So, I thank Tom Waits for his music. I hope he tours in Columbus, because last time he was in Columbus, I was poor, I couldn't afford the tickets, and I wish he toured more, and I wish he'd come to Columbus more. Please, Tom Waits, if for some reason you watch this video, come to Columbus more. Please. So anyway, that's basically all I got to say about Tom Waits. He's an original voice. He's been an original voice throughout his entire career. And we need more original voices. Always. He's old school, he's new school. He's not afraid to try something new. He's not afraid to be that weird guy out. And that's another reason why I respect him. Because as being a weird guy, I wish I could be that kind of weird that doesn't scare people. So Tom Waits, thank you for your work. If you haven't watched this video, please, if you haven't ever listened to something of Tom Waits, listen to his albums, listen to his songs. You probably have seen him in movies. He's a good actor too. Even check out, he actually even released a book of poetry called Seeds on Hard Ground. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to look for it. And I am excited to see that even after all these years, he still wants to show his love for the art of poetry. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm going to continue my love of poetry. It's been a full The name for tomorrow's episode, which will be up tomorrow, I promise. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's poet is going to be... Aww. We're going to have our first local showcase tomorrow, and I am... Oh, this just makes me happy. So, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTubes, I'm Jill X-Inch. Keep your pens moving across the page. Live long and prosper. And until next time, I will see you on the next episode of Poet Love.